Resident Evil 9 is yet to be announced. However, there's already rumours that it could be open world. And is that such a good thing? Welcome back to the world of survival horror. This week's news outlets have been going mad over the possibility of Resident Evil 9 being open world, all because of one tweet by so-called insider Dusk Gollum. Now, the tweet doesn't explicitly say that Resident Evil 9 is going to be open world. What it does say is that Capcom greenlit games in batches of 3, and somehow the news reports have twisted this to be an open world. So the examples that Gollum gives is RE7, RE2 and Devil May Cry were greenlit together, and this was to take advantage of the RE engine. Now, I haven't played Devil May Cry, so I can't speak for that one, but RE7 is first person and RE2 is third person, so they're not even identical games. Yes, I know it's possible to put a third person mode into first person, but we know firsthand if it's not built that way, then it can actually feel a little janky. Gollum goes on to describe that the success of RE2 inspired them to take on RE3 and RE4's remakes, which makes sense, but that's not greenlit together. So already still not quite making sense. The rest of the tweet goes on to say that Dragon's Dogma 2 was expanding the RE engine into open world games. Two other games building on this tech is Monster Hunter Wilds and Resident Evil 9. So this is where they've got the open world element for it. Gollum does go on to clarify that the series' DNA will stay intact, so for example Dragon's Dogma 2 is still Dragon's Dogma, Monster Hunter will still like Monster Hunter, and Resident Evil will still be a Resident Evil game. Which to me says they're not going to go Witcher 3 style open world. We've seen a lot of semi-open world games area in Resident Evil before. Personally, I think games work better when they're in confined spaces such as the Spencer Mansion or the RPD, but Resident Evil Nemesis were given an extensive map and a freedom to choose where to go and what order to do things. Resident Evil 4 Remake expanded its game's world and check out areas that you might not have been able to access before. But for a game like Resident Evil to be truly open world, I don't think it's going to work at all. Think about it. Open world games are for adventurers, people that want to go out and explore. I mean, that first moment when you exit the vault in Fallout 3, the sun hits your eyes, and then the world just opens up. And you can look out and you think, I can go anywhere. I can do anything. How is that going to translate into a Resident Evil game? Up to a certain point, Resident Evil has always been trying to do one better. So, for example, the first game was the Spencer Mansion, but then they wanted the city incorporated, so we got Resident Evil 2, which had more locations. Resident Evil 3 expanded that even further, and then Resident Evil 4, 5 and 6 just got bigger and bigger and bigger until Resident Evil 7. And that's when it started coming back, which is probably why it's one of my favourite games in the series. The only way it really works is if it would be like a Days Gone kind of game, where the virus has escaped into a large enough area that you could travel from place to place, battling hordes of zombies. The only problem with this, though, is that it's not really Resident Evil. Days Gone is a fantastic zombie game, but it's not survival horror. It's not even survival action, it's just zombie action. You're expected to go in armed to the teeth, taking out hordes of zombies, against possible odds. This isn't your working out puzzles or planning your routes because you're low on ammo or nervous, something that could possibly jump out at you any moment, requiring you to change your underpants. Well, don't look at me like that. It only happened once. And as good as the story arc is, it's not really trying to uncover a mystery of what on earth happened. Days Gone is just a really, really good zombie fest. Dusk Gollum does seem to be an insider, or at least have some contacts. And so the so-called leaker has got a few predictions right in the past. But I would still take this with a massive bucket of salt until you've heard anything from Capcom officially. And until they speak, nothing is actually set in stone. In the meantime, let me know down in the comments, would you actually like to see an open world Resident Evil game? Maybe something like an expanded Outbreak series where the entire Raccoon City is open to explore, and then you have to try and survive it. It could also give developers an opportunity to bring in a load new characters, because after all, the mainline heroes are starting to get quite old. And I've actually got some more of my thoughts on those characters' ages in the video that's on screen now. Thanks for watching, don't forget to hit that like button, and I'll see you survivors next time.